Ever think about how much energy we use just doing everyday things? Like, what if I told you writing an email could be worse for the environment than writing a whole essay with AI?
Yeah, it's a weird thing to think about, right?
It is, but that's what we're getting into today, the energy use of AI and Bitcoin mining.
Really makes you think twice about the technology we use every day.
Exactly. We've got some interesting stuff lined up today. There's this Wired article. It asks, which is the bigger energy hog, AI or Bitcoin?
Hmm, tough question. I'm curious to see what they say.
Right. And then there's this Nature study comparing AI's carbon emissions to our humans, I mean.
Now that's interesting. I haven't seen that one. What'd they find?
Oh, you'll have to wait and see. But let's start with the basics. Why are AI and Bitcoin mining such energy hogs?
Well, at their core, both rely on some pretty power-hungry processes. AI, think like ChatGPT, runs on these super complex algorithms.
Yeah, I've heard about those.
Yeah,
They're what make it so good at what it does.
exactly. But those algorithms need tons of data and even more processing power to work. Imagine huge data centers filled with these power-hungry GPUs constantly crunching numbers day and night.
It's hard to even picture, honestly.
It is. And then there's Bitcoin. It uses this system called proof of work, where miners compete to solve super complex math problems.
So it's like a race to solve these problems.
Exactly. And the winner gets to add a new block to the blockchain, which is how Bitcoin transactions are verified.
Okay, so there's a real incentive to be the fastest.
There is, because the faster you are, the more Bitcoin you're likely to earn. And that's where the energy use comes in. Miners are constantly investing in more and more powerful computers to try and outdo each other.
Like a technological arms race.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it all adds up to a massive energy drain. Actually, Wired had this crazy stat. Just one of those high-powered servers used for AI can use 2 kilowatts of power continuously.
2 kilowatts
Mm.
constantly. That's why. What does that even mean in real world terms?
Well, think of it this way. If you were using something like ChatGPT for every Google search,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that'd be a lot of searches.
it would be. And to handle that, SemiAnalysis estimated that you'd need over 500,000 of those servers.
500,000. Seriously.
Seriously. And to power all those, you'd be looking at around 29.2 terawatt hours of electricity annually.
I don't even know what to do with that number. What does that even compare to?
Well, for context, that's roughly the same amount of energy a whole country like Norway uses in an entire year.
Wow. And that's just for search.
And we're just getting started with AI. Projections show that by 2027, AI energy use could hit somewhere between 85 and 134 terawatt hours per year.
So more than quadrupling in just a few years. That's a lot of power.
It really highlights just how energy hungry these technologies can be. And we haven't even touched on the water usage yet.
Oh, right, because all those servers get hot, right?
They do. And they need a lot of water to stay cool.
Okay, so how much are we talking?
Well, Wired mentioned Microsoft's water use went up by a massive 34% in just 1 year. Like, picture 2,500 Olympic swimming pools.
Oh, wow. That is a lot of water. So it's not just the electricity we need to think about.
Exactly. And then there's Bitcoin's water footprint.
Right, we were just getting to that. So how does it compare?
One study estimated that back in 2021, Bitcoin mining used up over 1,600 gigaliters of water. And by 2023, that number is projected to be over 2,200 gigaliters.
Wow. Okay, so we've established that both AI and Bitcoin have a pretty serious impact on the environment, but they're going about it in very different ways. But I'm curious, are there any efforts being made to make these technologies more sustainable?
There are, actually, and this is where we start to see some key differences between how AI and Bitcoin are tackling this. On the Bitcoin side, there's a pretty noticeable shift towards using more green energy sources.
Really? So they're trying to clean up their act a bit.
Yeah, you can say that. It's a combination of things, really. For one, renewable energy like solar and wind, it's getting cheaper, which makes it attractive to miners who want to cut down their costs.
Makes sense. Those energy bills must be huge.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just about the money. There's also a growing awareness within the Bitcoin community about, their environmental impact. Wired quoted one leading Bitcoin miner who claimed that 70% of Bitcoin mining is now powered by green energy.
70%? That's a pretty big chunk.
It is. And as the industry matures and bigger companies, who are usually more sensitive to public pressure and regulations as they take over more of the market, we can probably expect to see even more emphasis on sustainability. Plus, Bitcoin mining's got this flexibility to it.
How so?
Well, you can mine Bitcoin basically anywhere there's an internet connection. So there's this incentive for miners to set up shop in places with cheap, abundant renewable energy, like near hydroelectric dams or geothermal plants.
So it's like they're following the energy in a
Yeah,
way?
exactly. Now, with AI, it's a little more complicated. While there are definitely companies and researchers working on making AI algorithms and hardware more efficient, the reality is most AI data centers still rely heavily on fossil fuels.
So for all the talk about AI revolutionizing everything, it's still pretty dirty, energy-wise.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case for now. Some companies are looking at alternatives like nuclear power, even Microsoft is considering that. But that comes with its own set of challenges and risks, obviously.
Right, like nuclear waste and potential for accidents. It's a tricky situation. Seems like we're still a ways off from truly green AI.
We are. It's super important to acknowledge both the huge potential of AI, but also the potential downsides.
Right.
We can't just jump on the AI for everything bandwagon without thinking about the consequences. It's all about finding a balance, making sure we're not creating new problems while trying to solve old ones.
Couldn't agree more. Finding that sweet spot between innovation and responsibility is key. Now, you mentioned earlier a Nature study that compared AI's carbon footprint with humans doing the same tasks. This is where things get really interesting because it kind of flips the script on how we think about AI and sustainability.
Yeah, this study added a really interesting layer to the whole conversation. Basically, they found that when it comes to creating content, specifically writing and illustration, AI systems can actually be way more environmentally friendly than humans.
Wait, seriously, you mean like sending a quick email could have a bigger carbon footprint than, say, generating a whole essay using AI?
That's what the study suggests, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, AI systems like GPT-3 and Bloom, which are used in tools like ChatGPT, they emit something like 130 to 1,500 times less CO2e per page of text compared to us humans. And for images, systems like DALL-E 2 and Midjourney, they create images with 310 to 2,900 times less CO2e than if a human drew or illustrated them.
Those numbers are kind of mind-blowing, but how is that even possible? I mean, don't these AI systems use a ton of energy themselves?
They do. But this study, it took a much broader view when calculating the carbon footprint. It wasn't just about the energy used directly by the AI, but also what they call the embodied carbon of human activities. So that's like all the energy used in our daily lives, driving, producing our food, heating our homes, even just our bodies functioning, it all adds up.
So you're saying even though AI uses a lot of energy, it's still potentially less than the cumulative emissions of billions of people just going about their lives.
Exactly. And there's another interesting thing. The energy needed to initially train these big AI models, while it's significant, it's kind of a one-time thing, the more we use these models, the more the carbon footprint per use actually goes down.
So it's like the more popular and widely used they get, the more eco-friendly they become, at least compared to us doing the same things. But this study mainly looked at writing and art. Do you think these findings could apply to other industries too? Could AI actually help lower the carbon footprint of other sectors?
Absolutely. I think this study opens up a lot of exciting possibilities.
Right.
Imagine AI optimizing processes, reducing waste, finding more sustainable ways to do things in manufacturing, transportation, even agriculture.
It's a cool thought. AI is not just a tool for progress, but also for sustainability.
Exactly. But of course, we can't ignore the potential downsides of AI becoming more widespread. Like, what about jobs? If AI can write our reports and create our art, what happens to writers and artists?
It's a valid concern, and a conversation that needs to happen sooner rather than later, really.
Absolutely. As AI gets more advanced, there are definitely going to be shifts in the job market. But this isn't new, right? Throughout history, new technologies have always changed how we work. Think about the Industrial Revolution, how much that changed things.
Very true. It's all about adapting, figuring out how to evolve alongside these advancements.
Exactly. We need to focus on retraining, teaching people new skills so they can thrive in a future where AI is more prevalent. And that means focusing on skills that are uniquely human: creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence. AI isn't so good at replicating.
So instead of seeing AI as a threat, maybe it's more about seeing it as a partner, something we can work with to achieve things neither of us could do alone.
I like that. Collaboration, not competition. Imagine writers and AI working together. AI could handle the research, the outlining, even drafting, while human writers focus on making the writing sing, adding that emotional depth and nuance that AI still struggles with.
Leveraging each other's strengths, I like it.
Exactly. But we do have to be mindful of the ethical side of things, too. The data used to train AI, if it's not carefully chosen, it can actually make biases worse. We need to figure out how to address that.
You're right. AI needs to be developed responsibly. Otherwise, we're just perpetuating the problems we already have.
Exactly. We need to make sure that the data used to train these systems is diverse and representative, and that the AI is developed transparently and ethically.
So it's about making sure AI serves humanity, not the other way around. It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
We always hear about, the big polluters, the factories and stuff, and
Oh,
yeah, they're definitely a huge part of the problem.
huge.
But this nature study, it really makes you realize that even the little things, the everyday stuff we do, it all adds up.
Totally. Like, it's easy to forget about our own impact.
Exactly. If something as simple as sending an email can leave a carbon footprint,
Right.
it makes you wonder, how can we use AI not just for like writing emails or whatever, but to actually help us be more sustainable? Like, what if AI could help us use less energy, find greener ways to travel, even make smarter grocery lists so we waste less food?
Now that's a future I can get behind. Imagine having, like, a personal sustainability coach right in your pocket, nudging you to make better choices without even having to think about it. And the
Oh,
crazy thing is, we're not that far off from that being a reality. We have the tech. It's just a matter of applying it in the right way.
totally. Well, we've covered a ton of ground today. AI, Bitcoin, the environment, the future of work. It's been a whirlwind.
It really has. From those complex algorithms to the global impact of mining, it's fascinating stuff.
It really is. Hopefully, this deep dive got everyone thinking about these technologies in a new light.
I think it's so important to have these conversations to really understand the potential of AI and Bitcoin, but also the challenges.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not just about understanding, it's about taking action, making conscious choices about how we use these technologies.
Absolutely. It's on all of us to shape the future we want to see.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to ponder. What if the most impactful change we can make isn't just tweaking our own habits, but fundamentally changing how we see technology's role in our lives? Can we shift from just consumers to active participants using these tools to create a better future? That's something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world around us.